There is a dire new report out from the United Nations. It's about the state of the Earth's climate.
Yeah, the organization says urgent action needs to be taken now to prevent a catastrophe. The report's 6 years in the making, and it's made up of work from thousands of scientists. And even though that message is bleak, it does say there is still hope.
Let's bring in NBC News science reporter Denise Chow. Denise, great to have you here. I know you've been digging into this 6 years in the making. It's got to be a lot of information. What are the big takeaways?
Yeah, Kate, the biggest takeaway is that time is running out to secure a livable future. And I think that emphasis on livable is really important because we've seen that the consequences of climate change are happening already all around the globe. There's not a single person on Earth that's, isn't affected in some way by global warming. But I think the key thing here is we want to stave off the worst effects, the most devastating consequences of things like sea level rise, extreme heat, flooding, food insecurity. And that's what these authors are really trying to hammer home.
So what does the report say can be done to try to counter this at this point when we're already in this far?
The main thing is that we absolutely cannot waste any more time in terms of cutting emissions. And so the report lays out that if we want to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, which is this, landmark part of the Paris Climate Agreement, it's something that we talk about all the time, and climate scientists use that as a threshold.
Right.
In order to do that, global greenhouse gas emissions really have to be slashed nearly in half by 2030. That's a very ambitious goal.
In half by 2030. I'm no scientist, but that sounds pretty hard to reach. Look, the release of this report, as I understand it, it's a UN report, but there was some division. It was delayed because of disagreements, right? And what should be said. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, this isn't really that uncommon in the days leading up to this report's release. Like, there are squabbles here and there about just how something is worded or laid it out in the report. But the main thing that is at dispute here is between wealthier nations and developing nations, and whether the targets that are being set for reducing emissions by the wealthier nations, which historically have contributed the most to the climate crisis, are deep enough. And so developing nations really want to hold them accountable. And another big issue is just this financial aid pot that will go towards developing nations, poorer nations that are, disproportionately affected by climate change.
Yeah. Denise Chow, very important here. Thank you for bringing this to us. Thank you for shedding some light on it. It's a conversation we will most certainly continue to have. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.